you'll see I'm the non-white person there in the pink. So these are my best friends, my posse. So I grew up in white spaces, and the difference with my experiences, I was not teased. And when you have an Asian American, or actually Asian anywhere, who grew up in white spaces, they're going to be teased. They're for their name, for their food, for their eyes, everything about them. And that was not my experience. And so I'm very lucky for that. And I'm fourth generation. So I think your past two guests, I think they were first and second generation. So
Right.
as you think about like my voice, fourth generation. So I'm not assimilating. I am.
As you're talking about Asian inclusivity and the work that you do, what does an Asian inclusivity speaker, what are you all about basically?
So let me start with the problem, because in order to raise awareness for Asian inclusion, well, what's the problem? Asians, they don't experience discrimination, do they? They have good jobs. Yeah, the people at my work, they all have good jobs. So therefore, and I never hear any complaints from them. So they're all good. So that's the common um, idea of like Asians don't have problems. And we do. If you look at diversity, equity, inclusion, IND, DNI, all the things. And if you were to Google up diversity panel, like what you'd pull up, you'd pull up faces, and there'll be Black faces and some white faces and some gay faces, but you would not ever see Asian faces. And that is very standard. At least in America, that's what I see. And I am glad to see Black and LGBT faces there. But Asians also need to be included. And all the topics also, they do not include. It's like your own, check your bias, and let's look at Black folks and LGBT folks. But it's not accessibility, it's not Asians, it's not Indigenous. So we need to be included too. It's a different feeling. So the idea, friend up with
Yeah.
non-white people. You might want to do that and learn how to do that. And that's, as an Asian inclusivity speaker, that's what
Mhm.
I do. I train mostly the dominant culture, white folks, to learn about Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islanders. Who are they? Where do they live? What are their
Yeah.
values?
Yeah.
What's important to them? How can we include them? And by the way, finding out, like, you can learn a lot from Pacific Islanders. Wow, they're living on this remote island, and they've learned how to do things and be more resourceful, and how to build communities. Well, if you want to build community in your organization, hey, maybe look at communities who've already done that. Talking about race and ethnicity doesn't have to be painful. It doesn't have to hurt. It doesn't have to be wildly uncomfortable. So I try and make it a gamify it is a good idea. And it's also easier. I bring in like pop culture, maybe name that tune, and things that they can relate to. So we're relating to that nostalgia of, oh, that TV show, Happy Days, but I bring an Asian lens to it. So they're like, oh, they're leaning in and like, oh. So it's bringing kind of a fun aspect into it to talk about something that's
And until next
delicate
time.
and sensitive, and to make it a little bit easier to digest.